Hello everyone, and welcome to my April series of to help neurodivergent families. So this month I want to concentrate on why revision is so very difficult for neurospicy young people. And it's not to do with laziness. I'm just imagining that you may have had some terrible rows over the holiday about them not getting down to work. They have a mountain of work and they're just not making a start. So it's not laziness. In fact, it's very far from that. It's a combination of so many things. First of all, there's the exam environment problem. There's the strange environment, the rigid seating plan, the fact that there seems to be no escape and they have to sit there for however long those exams are. There are too many people. There could be sensory overload, somebody tapping their pen, somebody breathing loudly. You've no idea how many little things can trigger a highly sensitive young person. And then, of course, there are the analog clocks. I remember when I was teaching quite a long time ago, I was teaching English and we were talking about how to spread out their time management during the exam. And I would say, you spend a good 20 minutes reading through the whole paper from start to finish and deciding which questions you're going to answer and in what order. A good 20 minutes. And then a lovely girl put her hand up and said, "But how will I know when it's 20 minutes?" And I said, "Well, you'll look at the clock." And then she said, "But I can't tell the time on a clock like that, an analog clock. Everybody nowadays is so used to using the digital clock on their mobile phone. And in exam rooms, very often it is an analog clock with hands. So there are so many obstacles to your neurospicy person doing well in exams. Now, accommodations can be made, but you do need to ask early. People can do the exams in a smaller room, but you do need to make that request as early as possible. And with public exams looming large, that might not be possible now. So you'll need to make the best of a bad job. Then there's overwhelm. It shocked me when I was coaching young people in the sixth form that they are still being given homework as well as revision, as well as coursework to catch up on. The pressure on staff to get through the syllabus, especially in big subjects like biology, is almost impossible. And that pressure is cascading down onto the young people. It really is a no-win situation. So they've got coursework to finish, they've got homework to do, and they've got revision to fit in as well. So there's so much pressure that they may feel that they just have to shut down, just retreat, sleep, anything rather than face that awful overwhelm. And then there's the self-blame. Why can't I just be like my friend X, who just gets on with it? Well, compare and despair. Your friend X may not be neurodivergent. It might be relatively easy for them to sit still and get on with their revision. I distinctly remember before I went back to college to do my final exams, my father's parents were staying with my mum and dad. So I must have gone back for the Easter holiday and we were having a final lunch and mum had made it so lovely. And it was the first time I'd ever had schlur, I remember. And my granny articulated all the thoughts that were inside my head. "Jean, you'll be very worried about your finals. Do you think you've done enough work? Will you manage? You'll be thinking you want to do your mum and dad proud and granddad and I. And And I could feel the tears welling in my eyes. And my mum got really cross and I couldn't eat my lunch. I did drink the Schlur though. And then mum took me to the train and I was crying and crying. And I remember there was a chap on the train who was in the year, no, I was only in the B stream at the grammar school that I went to. He was in the A stream. His name was Philip Cowley. And he was on his way to watch Essex play at Chelmsford. And my mum said to this poor chap, will you look after her for me, please? She's very upset. So I know now that I've got, I've assessed myself as being ADHD, that I was just feeling overwhelmed. And my granny's comments just tipped me over the edge. So there's the overwhelm, which leads to shutdown, and then that leads to self-blame. So the last thing your young person needs is for you to get cross and say, why can't you just make a start? Because there's so many things in their way. So reframe. I know it's difficult for you to get started, but just do 5 minutes worth. So the reframe. It's your relationship with your young person that is so very, very important. And do you know what? In the worst case scenario, you can do your GCSEs at evening classes. It can be done. That's the route that our younger daughter took to do her A-level biology. It doesn't have to happen in school. Certainly it's easier and less expensive if you do it at school, but you can do it later on when you are ready. So you're not lazy, you're just wired differently and you need to revise differently. I'm working with a young person at the moment who is a very visual learner and she's never been introduced to the concept of mind maps. Mind maps are fabulous for us neurospicy types who are very visual. So cut yourself some slack. You're not lazy, you're just wired differently. And mums and dads and grannies and granddads, your job is to support and scaffold your young person. Just encourage them to make a start. So in the next videos, I'm going to share with you some concrete examples of fun ways to revise. Because let's face it, sitting on your own with a load of revision to do, it's not really doing it for a neurospicy brain, is it? But I'm going to share some tips with you in the videos to come. Thank you for watching.